You can make paper out of it, that you can make cloth out of it, you can make cord out of it, you can make oil, you can make medicine.
You can make food out of hemp seed oil, you can burn it in a lamp, you can make rope, you can make parachute cordage and tie your shoes, and the Constitution was really printed on hemp paper.
The beauty of the hemp fibre is that it could be many things depending on its method of cultivation and the method of processing. With special steam treatment, the fibre can fibrillate and produce a cloth of a silky consistency, which is indistinguishable from natural silk.
For over 10,000 years, hemp was undeniably our most useful plant. Our ancestors depended on hemp's exceptionally strong fiber, cellulose-rich pulp, and highly nutritious seeds. The plant was cultivated and used throughout history for food, clothing, fuel and medicine, as well as for sails, rope, shelter, and paper.
For centuries prior to about 1850, all the ships that sailed the western seas were rigged with hempen rope and sails. A 44-gun frigate took over 60 tons of hemp for rigging, including an anchor cable 25 inches in circumference.
Amongst the thousands of products made from hemp, one of the most extraordinary is Henry Ford's plastic car. Built in 1941, it contained cellulose fibers derived from hemp, sisal, and wheat straw. The plastic was lighter than steel, yet could withstand 10 times the impact without denting.
Ci sono circa 5.000 articoli diversi che possono essere prodotti oggi con la canapa. Crackers, gabbiette per animali, materiale isolante, filamenti tessili, custodie per chitarra, lenzuola, rulli per massaggio, mascara, tovaglioli, fiocchi d'avena, materassi, calzature sportive, magliette, lacci per le scarpe, copriorecchie, pannolini, ciucci da morsicare, cuscini, amache, casse per altoparlanti, tende per la doccia, poltrone, deodoranti, coperte, tamburi, filtri per caffè, zoccoli, segatura per le stalle, tendaggi, cappelli, stivali, assi da stiro, biancheria intima, asciugamani, guanti, candele, abiti, giacconi, monopattini, tavole da surf, grembiuli, zainetti, pantaloni, spugne, quaderni e persino le case possono essere costruite in buona parte con i prodotti della canapa.
Popular Mechanics magazine recognized the potential bonanza for American farmers and entrepreneurs. This article heralded a machine that could process hemp quickly and cheaply for the first time in history.
C'era però un problema. In quell'epoca il magnate del giornalismo rosa, Randolph William Hearst, aveva costruito il suo impero su milioni e milioni di ettari di foresta da legname che utilizzava per produrre la carta per i suoi giornali particolarmente popolari. Con il ritorno della carta di canapa, ora meno costosa della carta estratta dagli alberi, grazie ai nuovi macchinari di lavorazione, il suo impero era destinato a crollare nell'arco di pochi mesi. Un altro gigante dell'industria che si trovò direttamente minacciato dalla canapa era Lamothe DuPont, proprietario della società petrolchimica che aveva appena ottenuto i brevetti per creare dozzine di fibre sintetiche dal petrolio. Nylon per le calze, per le spazzole, per gli abiti da uomo e persino per le gomme delle automobili. E poi Orlon, Dacron, spugne sintetiche, cellophane e una intera gamma di prodotti che sarebbero stati soppiantati sul mercato dai loro concorrenti fatti con la canapa. Oltre al rischio di perdere milioni di dollari, Hearst e DuPont avevano un'altra cosa in comune. Erano ambedue finanziati da uno dei più potenti banchieri dell'epoca, Andrew Mellon, il quale in quel periodo era anche ministro del tesoro degli Stati Uniti. Mellon nominò alla direzione dell'Ufficio Federale Narcotici il suo futuro genero Harry Anslinger. Con l'aiuto dei giornali di Hearst e delle compiacenti produzioni di Hollywood, Anslinger mise in moto una gigantesca campagna mediatica intesa a far apparire la canapa come un prodotto intossicante e pericoloso che andava immediatamente eliminato dalla società.
Parents, beware. Your children homeward bound from school are being introduced to a new danger in the form of a drugged cigarette, marijuana. A Chicago mother watching her daughter die as an indirect result of marijuana addiction told officers that at least 50 of the girl's young friends were slaves to the narcotic, continuing addiction until they deteriorate mentally, become insane, and turn to violent crime and murder.
Marijuana, the dried leaves and flowers of the Indian hempweed, is used in the form of a cigarette. Marijuana smoking, experts point out, can make a helpless addict of its victim within weeks, causing physical and moral ruin and death.
Let's go, Jack, I'm red hot.
Should you ever be confronted with the temptation of taking that first puff of a marijuana cigarette, don't do it.
Alla fine di questa poderosa campagna antidroga fu presentata in Parlamento una nuova legge che proibiva l'uso della marijuana. Nonostante il composto psicotropico chiamato THC si trovi solo nel fiore e nella foglia della canapa, Anslinger riuscì a far proibire l'intera coltivazione della pianta in tutta America. La maggior parte dei senatori e deputati che approvarono la legge, infatti, non sapeva nemmeno che marijuana e canapa fossero la stessa cosa.
Without any public debate, scientific inquiry, or political objection, the Marijuana Tax Act was signed into law by President Roosevelt.
La guerra alla canapa era ufficialmente iniziata. Ci furono dozzine e dozzine di arresti clamorosi che lo stesso Hearst si preoccupava di far conoscere a tutta la nazione. Dopo la guerra, gli Stati Uniti iniziarono a fare pressione su tutti i paesi che ancora producevano canapa e per la fine degli anni 50 riuscirono a far rendere illegale la pianta praticamente in tutto il mondo. Questo fece un grande regalo alle industrie della carta e del settore petrolchimico, ma regalò anche a noi il disastro ecologico a cui assistiamo oggi. Inquinamento atmosferico, inquinamento chimico e ambientale, deforestazione selvaggia, estinzione delle razze animali, aumento del riscaldamento globale.
Virtually everything now made from trees and petroleum could instead be made from hemp. Not another single tree would ever have to be cut down to make paper. Clean-burning fuel would now be made from the biomass of the abundant hemp plant. This new fuel would run cars, factories, power plants, and would even provide heat for our homes. Hemp could be grown and processed into cloth and paper with only a fraction of the toxic chemicals used in processing cotton and trees.
Sfortunatamente, insieme alla canapa, abbiamo anche perduto uno dei più importanti medicinali mai conosciuti dalla storia umana.
Cannabis has been used medically since the year 2800 BC, when Emperor Shen founded the science of Chinese medicine. Wounds sustained in battle were bandaged in cannabis leaves.
Marijuana was found in a 1600-year-old skeleton of a woman giving birth near Jerusalem. Medical literature of the time indicates that marijuana had the power to increase the force of uterine contractions and to provide a significant reduction of labour pain. References to marijuana are also recorded in Egyptian, Assyrian, Greek and Roman writing from the same era. On the Indian subcontinent, marijuana is found in many preparations in ancient Ayurvedic medicine and is still widely used today.
Alla fine del XIX secolo, più del 30% delle medicine disponibili in America conteneva cannabis. Le sue qualità terapeutiche sono quasi quanti i prodotti diversi che si possono estrarre dalla canapa. Prevenzione di nausea e vomito causati dalla chemioterapia, anoressia, dolori causati dai tumori, danni alla spina dorsale, glaucoma, debolezza muscolare.
In 1972, the US Drug Enforcement Administration's senior judge, Judge Francis Young, commenced hearings on marijuana.
He came up with a 60-odd page opinion saying marijuana is probably the safest drug in the pharmacopoeia, and it certainly has medical utility.
Cannabis has also been proven to be of therapeutic value in the treatment of AIDS, multiple sclerosis, paraplegia and quadriplegia, asthma, epilepsy, pain relief, and other ailments. It has also been used as a topical antibiotic and analgesic.
Today, doctors across the whole world are asking for the right to use cannabis as a treatment for pain, especially for cancer and AIDS.
Marijuana is much less dangerous than many other substances in less restrictive schedules, like morphine and cocaine, not to mention the unscheduled legal mass killers, tobacco and alcohol. Of course, marijuana does have proven medical usefulness for some conditions. I'm Dr. George Lundberg, editor of MedGen-Med.
Cannabis is medicine, it's not a joke, and let's get into that. 1949, there was a study done showing that marijuana was useful in relieving seizures. Dr. Donald Tashkin is a very good researcher at UCLA. He also found in a study that I think he was surprised at the results that the incidence of lung cancer in people who smoked cannabis was less than the incidence of lung cancer in people who smoked nothing at all.
One study that we did looked at patients with HIV-related painful peripheral neuropathy, which means nerve damage in the hands and feet. Very difficult problem. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatories don't help, opioids don't help, acupuncture doesn't really help. So we gave people cannabis, and we saw that it helped. And from our pilot study where everybody smoked real cannabis, we then decided to do a placebo-controlled trial. And we demonstrated quite successfully that cannabis reduced peripheral neuropathy pain compared to placebo.
Breast cancer kills more than 41,000 American women every year. Researchers in the San Francisco lab are working to shrink that number, and they're doing it with an unusual weapon, marijuana, or at least a compound from it.
And what we found is that this compound called cannabidiol was particularly effective at inhibiting aggressive breast cancers.
The benefits may not stop there. Scientists say the cannabis compound may fight other aggressive cancers, including prostate cancer. The next step, animal studies, then clinical trials. So it may be several years before patients may benefit from a cannabis cancer fighter.
Despite its undeniable potential as the natural, renewable alternative to a synthetic world, the hemp plant, by federal law, still cannot be cultivated in the United States. Despite increasing public and scientific support, the medical use of marijuana still remains illegal. And despite the enormous cost in money and human lives, millions of people are still being arrested for possessing a therapeutic substance revered by our ancestors. This is the reality of America's war on a plant. A war born of commerce and greed. An endless war.
Nel frattempo, c'è chi ha deciso di non aspettare e di prendere in mano le sorti della propria salute.
My name is Rick Simpson. I live at 344 Little Forks Road, just outside of Macan, Nova Scotia. I'm here to tell you about the most medicinal plant known to man, hemp.
Da molti anni Rick Simpson produce e fornisce ai malati della sua zona un olio curativo estratto dalla canapa.
Oils made from the hemp plant are the most medicinally active substances ever found in nature. Hemp is a plant, and therefore it cannot be patented. To drug companies, no patent means no money, hence no interest in producing this drug. When you examine bud from the hemp plant, you can see that it is covered in resin. This resin makes the bud appear to be covered in frost. This resin is the medicine.
Simpson produce l'olio sul suo terreno, con un complesso procedimento che ha messo a punto nel corso degli anni.
When collected and processed properly, the resulting oil is an effective cure or control for practically any disease known to man, even cancer. We have supplied this oil to dozens of people with cancer. Even people who were diagnosed with terminal cancer by our medical system now have a clean bill of health after treatment with hemp medicine.
One of the testaments to hemp oil's healing power is his father, a military veteran suffering from lung cancer.
And this last time I was in,
I didn't know it, but they said I was going to die in 24 hours, but I didn't. So I took the oil and everything worked out right.
I have suffered from major depression since the age of 27. I suffer from anxiety attacks. I've also had 3 back injuries with constant aching in my back, and that for years. And when I took this medicine, it seemed to take the aching from my back. It seems to cut down my panic attacks. And as late as I keep going on, it just seems to get better and better, my depression and anxiety attacks.
I had a huge mole on my shoulder that was black and had a crusty, it wasn't a natural mole, and I'd been sort of concerned about it. And so actually knowing from Rick mentioning that it cured skin cancer and removed stuff like that, I decided to put a little oil on my mole and see if it worked. So I put a little Band-Aid over it. I only applied it for like 3 days and then another 4, and then in 2 weeks it was completely gone.
Well, I had skin cancer, melanoma cancer, they told me. I was treated time after time, and I was burnt several times. I call it burnt. They have another name for it, but anyway, they burnt me several times, and it wasn't doing no good. All the salve they gave me, I put it on and put it on. So I ran across this fellow they call Ricky Simpson. Well, you see my face, I know it's all wrinkled up, but there's no big holes in it.
I used hemp oil for a number of conditions: migraine headaches, cyst on my ovary, arthritis, bad skin allergies.
I had 2 months to live. I was cashing in, I didn't care then, and got a hold of Rick, and Rick explained how this stuff works. The chemo and the radiation just kills everything inside of you. It doesn't give you a chance to live. And then when I look at my hemp oil, that's why I am sitting here today telling you.
January '07, my father came to stay with my wife and I because his cancer had become unmanageable. He could not stay alone anymore. At this point, the man had fluid in both lungs, couldn't even hardly walk around. His breathing had gone down to 70%, and he was on his last legs. We started him on the treatment. Inside of 3 months, the cancer was completely gone. In between that, he got nothing but better. The man improved every day from the time he started the oil until he went to a maintenance dose in March.
It works. It works. That's all I can say. You know, it works. God love us.
All these people, how do you not believe this? I mean, it's right before your eyes.
Ma anche nella remota Nova Scotia le regole del gioco sembrano essere identiche.
Hemp oil containing THC has been touted as an effective treatment for many diseases, including cancer. But distributing THC, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, is illegal.
Hemp oil is being used by some people in the Macan area of Nova Scotia to help in the treatment of cancer. Now they're worried their hemp oil will be taken away.
People are being very scared of the RCMP coming in their home and taking their medicine from them, and the whole
A quel tempo Rick Dwyer era il presidente della sede locale della Legione Reale canadese.
That's when we proceeded to call in these politicians, our health professionals, and our enforcement professionals, and all the people who should have been contacted over this issue. We wrote them a letter, and we stated to come to this meeting. We would show you the evidence, the human evidence, scientific evidence, and the medical evidence. And that's when they come in and shut our Royal Canadian Legion down.
There's a battle brewing between a tiny Legion branch in northern Nova Scotia and the Legion Command.
The doors are locked here at the Royal Canadian Legion in McCann. Even past President Rick Dwyer can't get into the building. The charter has been pulled and the executive suspended because of their controversial support of the use of hemp oil as medicine.
And as Royal Canadian Legion members, for us to sit here while people were dying and suffering horribly and us knowing that this worked, I don't see where there's any honor to that.
And for now, since the Legion is the town's only meeting place, getting the word out about hemp oil will prove to be more difficult.
Grazie alla tolleranza delle autorità locali, Rick Simpson può continuare a rifornire gli abitanti della zona con il suo olio curativo, ma rimane un'attività illegale. Nel frattempo, nessuna entità medica ufficiale, né un singolo dottore privato, si è mai fatto avanti per sapere qualcosa di più sulle apparenti qualità curative dell'olio prodotto da Rick Simpson.
That's the cure right there.
There's so many people out there suffering with so many diseases that this works for. And at nights I don't sleep very well because I think of those little children that are being poisoned and that are being fed chemotherapy and radiation and infants. And this is so horrible.